Hello, Seekers. It's been a while since I've made a video for this channel, but due to a recent uptick in interest on the channel, I thought, why not do something new and fresh and exciting? At least I think it's exciting. I maintain quite a few social networking profiles, various sites, and people periodically ask me questions about various things in regards to heathenry. I've got some of those questions from the last month or so here that I'm going to answer today. And everyone who's asked these questions has given me permission, as long as I keep their names secret. So I'm going to go ahead and read those and then give answers to them. And if you're one of the people who asked one of the questions, uh, thank you for contributing. And of course, I'm always open to taking new questions to do video responses on. Without any further waiting, number one, I am GodSpoused to Surtur, but I think that I have made him angry. He would speak to me, and I could feel him at night when I am in my bed, but something changed. I don't feel him, and he doesn't visit me any more. Is he mad? What should I do if he is mad at me? Surtur likely isn't angry at you. If Surtur was angry at you, if the Lord of Gimle, or Surt if you want to call him that, was mad at you, well, he's the Lord of Fire in his own right. And who knows what way that might manifest in regards to, I don't want to say he'd burn your house down because that seems a bit intense and over the top, but fire by its very nature can be a bit intense and large, intense, just generally intense. It's more than likely that the reason why you can't hear your God spouse anymore is simply because you are being called to check out other things. In my own personal experience, and in talking with other people who have been through this sort of thing before, the silence, the disconnection from those that you relied on so much in the past in terms of divinity, spirituality. Generally, what this is just an invitation to explore. I wouldn't call it a being cut loose, per se, but rather it's like Cert, or whoever is being silent to you in your case, if you go through this, is giving you an opportunity to break free, to stop hanging onto their apron strings, and to learn more about the world around you, to reach out to other divinities. I've run into this also with people who say things like, I am a patron, or Freya is my patron, or Freyr is my patron, or Tyr or Thor are my patron, but they've stopped speaking to me. Did I anger them? How do I get back into their good favor? Well, if you can't think of a way that you angered them, or if it seems like kind of a reach, the reason that you can think of that you might have angered them, chances are you haven't angered them. And if you anger forces this old and this intense, well, they're going to manifest it in a very powerful way, likely. But that being said, we're talking about ancient, mature, kindred type spirits. They don't anger easy or over small things. Truly. That would be like saying, oh, I pissed off my grandma who's, 80 years old because I, walked funny down the street. Well, some grandmothers might be like that. But in my experience, elder relatives have been through enough life and enough experience that it takes a whole lot to be able to genuinely make them angry. All the more so for entities that are thousands of years old and have thousands of years more experience. So, chances are you haven't angered Cert. Chances are that you're being given an opportunity to explore, to make new allies, to connect with new things in new directions. This is your opportunity to find what calls to you besides your patron. Move out there and explore. In my own experience, I would say that the closest thing I have to a patron deity is Freya. But of course, I've connected over the years more strongly with other deities, even outside of the Germanic pantheon. Athena, Artemis are two that have always spoken strong to me ever since I was a child, growing up in the pagan community. These sorts of things. Let's move on to question 2 before this video gets too long. I have a strong wolf energy, and I am very drawn to Thor. Can I still work with Thor? Yes? Why wouldn't you be able to? Some might say that in some interpretations of Asatru, or Germanic paganism, that Thor and wolves are on opposite ends of the coin. They are on opposite sides. They are opposing forces. But that's just one interpretation. There are wolves, even within the Snorri version, which is pretty much our only version. The mainstream interpretation of the Eddas, I should say. There are interpretations, or there is room within the mainstream interpretations of Snorri's Edda for wolves that are positive. Consider, for example, Geri and Freki, the wolves of Odin. Are they on the opposite side from the Aesir and the Vanir? Now, I have other theories beyond this that come from a deeper reading of the texts, namely that Garm and Fenris and Skull are not what Snorri has made them out to be. And also that Fenris and Vanagandr are two totally different entities, or at least that there is an echo of a third wolf that we see in related traditions, like Tengrism. The wolf Asena is, I think, the closest example of to describe the whole, the hollow within our own tradition. Certainly the constellations of the sky from our tradition, from our Germanic traditions, Baltic traditions, Slavic traditions, related traditions, those old European constellations bear out a positive wolf of a female gender. So I guess back to the question. Can I still work with Thor if I have strong wolf energy? Absolutely. Absolutely. Most heathens I've spoken with have strong wolf energy. Most of them also link themselves to Thor. One gentleman I met even had a Mjolnir, was suspended on a chain, and that chain ran through the mouths of 2 wolves, and he said it was Geri and Freki. So absolutely. You should do what feels right to you. Now, if you reach out to Thor, and you feel you're reaching out to Thor as a wolf and he turns you aside, it may not have anything to do with your wolf energy. It may have to do with the fact that Thor is not interested in working with you at this time. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That doesn't mean you won't be able to work with Thor at some point. But remember that working with divinities is a relationship. It's a two-way street. They have to want to work with you, not just you working with them. And sometimes they will be very insistent about working with you, even if you ignore them for a long period of time. So keep that in mind as well. Question 3. I started learning runes in high school, but stopped because life got in the way. How do I start getting into studying runes again? Do I need to start over and cut new runes again? It would be hard for me to get my hands on a fruit tree limb. How to dissect this? How do you start getting into studying runes again? You do it. You pick up a book, you sit down with the runes, you do research, you meditate. The best way to do it is to take it one rune at a time. Take each rune individually, preferably in an order that you're comfortable with. Sit down with each individual rune in that order and study it. Read multiple books on the subject. Go online. Read synopses on multiple web pages. The more obscure and arcane, the better. Yeah, you're going to run into conflicting information, but is it really conflicting? Or are you getting a more complete picture by studying various different interpretations of a single rune? Spirituality is all about your personal interpretation. It's about you setting your own limits, you setting your own reality. And this is a good example of somebody who's set limits for themselves that they don't need to, limits that they can move past. It would be hard for me to get my hands on a fruit tree limb. You don't need a fruit tree limb. I've made runes out of Sculpey. I've made runes out of PLA, polylactic acid. 3D printed my own runes out of PLA. And they work just as well as the runes that I've carved out of stone. The runes that I've carved out of 100-year-old oak table. It all has to do with how you connect to it. You don't need a fruit tree limb. You need belief in yourself and your ability to fashion your own runes out of the material that is truest for you. You've been I don't know. I don't know how long ago high school was from you, but it sounds like it's been a while. Because you say life got in the way. Life will get in the way. That's normal. Life got in the way for me for a while as well. I started studying runes when I was 22, and I took a break for a few years because I thought, this is too old. I need something new and fresh. And it's good that I did, because I learned many other things in many other different areas of knowledge. I went out and explored, and when I was ready, I came back to the ancestral texts. I came back to the runes, and I began to learn them again. Have I learned them? Not completely. Does anyone ever? I can lay out the runes in a reading and tell you what they say. I can tell you my interpretation, which is a synthesis of countless interpretations. But do I feel like I'm done learning? Never. Never. There is always learning to be done. That is the nature of spirituality in its truest form. To be ever learning, to be a doer rather than just a talker, to be a practitioner rather than just a reader. Go make your set of runes. Go and make your set of runes and begin their study if that's what you choose, if that's the direction you choose to go in. So that's the 3 questions that I picked from those that were asked in the last month or so. If you have questions of your own, you can put them in the comments to this video, or you can ask them through my Instagram, which is @ESWin, or you can go to my Patreon. Right now it's only $1 a month, and I've got more than just esoteric heathenry articles and videos and meditations and such on there. I've also been doing quite a bit of 3D printing. So if you're into 3D printing, or you want to know more about it, you want to know where spirituality and 3D printing intersect, well, that's why I maintain a Patreon. First 50 members are only $1. After that, price goes up to $5 a month. So get in there while you can. The address for that is patreon.com/ESWin. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed these answers and that they helped you along your own path. Thank you.